I would call fuel for fitness and recovery, because obviously, not only do you want to think about fueling your workouts, but you also want to think about the recovery from the workouts as well. So, today we're going to talk about some like good nutritional strategies that would be essential for anyone actively engaging in fitness training, in strength training, which is what we do, and just overall wellness as well, which is also really important for recovery. Um, Typically, the members that we have would be looking for more of a weight loss goal, and with a weight loss goal can be a big emphasis on a calorie deficit, which is important, of course. But then with a calorie deficit, a lot of people will start thinking about really cutting back on certain food groups and increasing certain food groups. And some certain food groups which could be increased, like protein, gives a lot of benefit to recovery. But on the flip side, some food groups that typically get cut back are carbs, which can be a disadvantage for your training, put it that way. And I will just say a caveat to this talk is that I have Pablo, our dog, sat just in front of me. So if a postman does come past, or if a leaf blows past the house, you're probably going to hear a few barks, and he might just have to come and sit next to me. But I'm sure he will get over it. Okay, so let's dive in. So I've gone through this quite a number of times, with in the previous talks around carbs and what they do, proteins and what they do, and fats and what they do. So I'm going to talk about it from. I'm going to use the same discussion, because ultimately, like, nothing here is groundbreaking. I am repeating, but that's the whole point of this, is that I'm repeating the same message, that these different macronutrient groups are important. So carbohydrates is literally your body's fuel. So that is literally petrol in your car that is going to get you going. Okay, so imagine carbs as your body's fuel, much like petrol in a car. When you eat carbs, your body breaks them down into glucose, which is either used immediately for energy or stored in your muscles and liver as glycogen for later use. Now, if you eat too many calories, whether that's carbs, fats, proteins, and your glycogen stores, as in your muscle mass and your liver, are fully stocked up and they can't store any more energy being calories in this instance, that is when you gain body fat. So in simple terms, when you eat more than what your body needs, that is when you gain body fat, consistently over a long period of time. So just as I mentioned the other day, if you have gained weight, which happens, then that is, you didn't gain weight overnight. You gained it gradually over weeks and months and potentially years. It's the same thing with weight loss. You don't lose it overnight. You lose it gradually over weeks, months, and years. So just keep that fresh in your memory. Um, so at benchmark, you all get pushed to your own ability, and we all train incredibly hard. You all put a lot of effort in, which is absolutely awesome. But at the same time, if you are not fueling your workouts in the right way, and doesn't mean that you have to eat before you come to the gym, because I'm talking more probably about the earlier gym goers that we have there. Doesn't mean you have to eat before you go to the gym, but what it does mean is that you need to take this into account, okay, to keep you going. So, where are carbs stored? As I mentioned, any glucose not immediately used gets stored as glycogen in the muscles and liver. It's like your body's energy reserves or reservoirs, ready to be tapped into during physical activity. So, for example, if you come in at 6:15, you're probably not going to have something to eat. You probably potentially have like a banana or something, I don't know, piece of toast if you get up early enough. But what I would say is just make sure in the meal, in your final meal, the night before, that is when you have more carbs in your day, sorry, in your meal, because those carbs that you put in that evening meal will be used in your early morning session. 7:15. Again, you could probably get away with having some fruit early doors. 9:30, you could potentially have breakfast, and then obviously 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, you will have potentially had a couple of meals before you come into that evening session. So The point here is this, is that carbs get stored within your body and they get used in your training session. If you have not consumed carbs for a day or two, then you're going to feel the effects of it. It's like when people go onto a keto diet, which is cutting out carbs, or when people typically go on a really low calorie diet, and I've heard some horrendous low calorie diets, they have no energy. And is it any surprise you have no energy when you are not fueling your body, and your body needs a minimum amount of energy to function? Just like I mentioned in yesterday's video around your BMR, so your basal metabolic rate, that is the minimum amount of calories your body needs to function. Okay, so the different types of carbs that you have simple carbs. So these are quick energy sources like sugar in fruit, so fructose, or milk, so lactose, and like sweet treats, so quite literally sweets. But these are quite literally, they're fast digesting, perfect for a quick boost. Now, so let's use an example here. If you are coming in the morning session, let's say 6:15, well, any session at all, if you don't feel like you've eaten enough carbs or you've not eaten enough to go into that session, this is when a simple carb could be beneficial. So some fruit, some toast with honey on it, something which is quick and easy to digest. Okay, it's going to give you that boost. You're not going to be flying off the walls. It's not like it's caffeine, but it's going to give you a little bit of a boost. Okay, that just reminds me, I just want to add a note here because I want to talk about caffeine in the last part. So yeah, carbs. So types of carbs, you've got simple carbohydrates, which are fruit, honey, milk. Not that I'm going to go and say have milk before you work out because it won't sit on your stomach too well, but that's where the lactose comes from, which is sugar. And then you've got more complex carbs, which are a bit longer to digest, basically. So these include like whole grains, like oats, brown rice, white rice, quinoa, or spelt quinoa, if you're a bit confused as to what quinoa is. And obviously some starchy vegetables, so like potatoes. I can't think of any examples. Potatoes, for example, and legumes as well. But they provide a slow and steady release of energy, ideal for a more sustained workout, a longer workout, or if you're coming into an evening session, having carbs like rice or potatoes in your lunch is going to help you more in the evening because it's slower released, and it's slower released because of the fiber content, and it's the fiber that slowly releases the carbohydrates, whereas with fruit, for example, it's a bit quicker digesting. So for those of you hitting the gym regularly, aim for about 3 to 5 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of your body weight daily. So let me just do a calculator. So I weigh 80 kilos times by, let's just go for the minimum recommendation, 3, is 240 grams of carbs. And if we just go into the InBody app, let's just get this up here. So the InBody app, so when you go onto your home screen there, which you can see, if you scroll down, you will see carbohydrates. Oh, nice. I found the screen. There you go. Oh, wrong one. Bear with me. There you go. Daily intake there. So I can clearly see I should have about 315 grams of carbs, 157 grams of fats, 157 grams of protein, and then 69 grams of fats. So about 2,500 calories is what my intake should be. Now, I'll be honest, I think my goal here is I've not actually set any goals. I've just did it quickly to sort of give you an example. So I don't know how accurate that is for what I need. But when you set them properly, which you can do with a trainer, that is what it will come up with there. So carbs, proteins, fats, and it'll give you all there. The fats, you don't need to spend too much of your focus on the carbs and the protein you do, because carbs is what's going to give you energy. Protein is what's going to help you recover. So carbohydrates, yeah, so 3 to 5 grams of carbs per kilogram of your body weight, and this will ensure you have enough energy to power through your workouts and recover properly. So yeah, I need to have about 315 grams of carbs. And again, I'm always honest with this. I'm giving you this information but I'm not giving this information based off me saying that I have this perfect diet. I don't. I don't actually know how many carbs I have. I don't know how much protein I have. I could probably do with using my fitness pal and actually just finding out for myself if I'm having enough carbs to help my own workouts and for my recovery. But that is the intake that you need, okay? And what you might find is that when you actually do this and you go on the InBody and you see these recommendations there, what you might find is that your carb intake is a lot higher than what you thought, and you've been massively under eaten on carbs, and then you're wondering why you feel fatigued or tired or you struggle in sessions or you're hungry throughout the day. Okay, so let's just briefly go over that again. So carbs, they get stored in your body and they get used for energy. If you eat too many, and it's not just carbs, it's calories in general, but if you consume too many and your muscle stores are full and your liver stores are full, that is when you begin to gain weight. Now, just a quick point on that, because I've not mentioned this, but this is the reason why strength training is so important, because with strength training, that is what's literally, when you're increasing your muscle mass, you're giving your body more storage for carbohydrates. So imagine, I haven't got any examples, but imagine you've got a shelf, like literally one shelf, and that is that's where you're storing your energy. But let's say over a 3, 4, 5, 6 month period, you develop more muscle and you now have, let's say, 10 shelves. You basically got 10 shelves worth of space to then store your carbohydrates. So it gives you more energy to train, but also if you do overeat on carbs, you've got somewhere to store it as well. Carbohydrate recommendations: 3 to 5 grams of carbs, even if you just go off 3 and get an idea. But if you go off your InBody, you can clearly see it there, what the recommendation is. And that's all you need to know on carbs, okay? Again, if you have any questions, let me know. So carbs are what get you to go. Protein is what gets you to grow. Really easy to remember this. So proteins are the building blocks for your body. So think of protein as the bricks in the construction of a building. After a workout, your muscles are like a construction. I have to get this censored. After a workout, your muscles are like a construction site with ongoing repairs. Think about that analogy. Protein provides the essential building blocks for repairing and growing muscle tissue. So protein is really, really important for growing and repairing muscle tissue. The different types of proteins you have animal proteins, so you've got like chicken, beef, eggs, dairy products, fish, that sort of thing. Plant-based proteins, you've got lentils, chickpeas, different sorts of, what they called, pulses. That's what I'm looking for, pulses. And then you've got supplemental proteins, which would be whey protein. Whey protein, or any sort of like vegan protein as well. Like we have pea protein. I have pea protein purely because whey protein just does not agree with me. So I have pea protein, and I found a really good one. So whey protein, I would just recommend to have it in your diet. It's a really easy way to get 25 to 30 grams of protein in a protein shake. And if you've just finished the gym and you're probably not going to have a meal for a good hour or so because you got to get home, you got to shower, you got to sort the kids out, you got to get off to work, you got a meeting, whatever it is, having a protein shake and having just some fruit like an apple, banana, whatever, after your workout, it just boosts your energy levels a little bit so that you're not craving food like when you get home and make bad choices with food. So I just find if you have a protein shake and some fruit, it's just a good way to get protein into your diet quickly, and 25-30 grams boosts your sort of protein intake for the day. Protein timing. Now, this isn't super important. What is important? I know obviously I've just said literally 5 seconds ago that having a protein shake after your workout is beneficial, and it's not to say that it's beneficial because it's going to boost anything, but it just means it's a quick source of protein and carbs you can get into your system after you've trained. Now, protein for general people like us is the timing of protein is not important. What's important is how much you have over the whole day. So don't worry about timing your protein. What is important is how much you have over the whole day. Um, Now, what I will say on carbohydrates, did I? Yeah, I'll come back to that. Yeah, I'll come back. So yeah, protein, and again, I mentioned this in I think the second video of the week. A protein target, you want to have 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight each day, and this is ideal for most of us. And again, go back to the InBody. This is why I love this app. Is that you can clearly see. Where are we? You can clearly see what your protein intake should be just off your InBody app. And the InBody app is super accurate because it will it goes off your body fat, your overall weight, your muscle, your activity levels, your height, your age, everything. So you probably won't get a more accurate reading than the InBody. So we're very lucky to have it at Benchmark. So yeah, that's all you need to know on protein, really. You just need to you need to really try and get what I do, and I've done this for years, and it works for me. Is just to get I don't track my protein, I just don't. But just try and get some sort of protein in every single meal that you have, even if like you've had overnight oats, which is typically more carbs. But if you can use a higher protein yogurt with your overnight oats, with breakfast, I literally have the same breakfast, so like scrambled egg, mushrooms, tomatoes, protein there. If I'm having lunch, I will try and have well, whatever it is basically. But my whole point here is just try and make sure you get some sort of protein in every meal that you have. Does not need to be a chicken breast. It could just be something as easy as some cottage cheese or throwing some chickpeas in, or a tin of tuna or something like that. Doesn't have to. When I say protein, doesn't have to be an animal-based sauce, or it doesn't have to be a chicken breast or beef or something. It can be whatever works for you, but just try and get protein into every part of your day. Um, what what I tend to hear is like when I've spoken to people in the past about food and diet plans and stuff, is that people could have like Weetabix for breakfast and that with milk, and then they'll have soup for lunch with maybe a bit of bread, and it's like you've gone through half of your day already but not contained any protein whatsoever. So even if you change that Weetabix to overnight oats or scrambled egg on toast, and you change that soup for, even if you had a chicken sandwich or you took a sandwich in or something, you're getting protein in there. Just want to check the sound is all good. Yeah, we're all good. Perfect. That's everything on protein. Okay, so meal timings and digestion as well. So timing your meals is like timing your fuel stops before a long drive. So eat too much, too close to your workout, and you'll feel sluggish. Your body's too busy digesting. Sorry, your body is too busy digesting when it comes to powering your muscles. So my point here is this: is if you have your training session at 7:15 a.m., for example, and then you have your overnight oats at 6:30, like that is gonna satisfy your hunger levels, but the oats aren't gonna do you any good for the workout because your body is digesting those oats, and also your body is using energy to digest those oats, and also your body is using blood and, well, yeah, blood to digest those oats, and you want to be using all of that to train. So my point here is this: when it comes to meal timings for carbs, it's important because if you're going to have a bit of a higher carb using complex carbs, then you want to be having a good 2 or 3 hours before you train. So if you're going to have complex carbs, so like rice, pasta, oats, potatoes, that sort of thing, then have it a good 2 or 3 hours before you train so that it's fully digested. So ideal timing for optimal energy: have a light snack that's easy to digest about 30 to 60 minutes before your workout. This could literally be banana. I sometimes have a banana. Well, I usually have a banana with like some toast with a little bit of peanut butter, honey, and butter on it. I'm getting hungry now. I can see it. But that's like, it's quick fuel. and it won't weigh you down. In theory, it won't affect your energy levels or your digestion. And I think what's really important from this is that, and this is something I've been doing a lot more the last couple of years, is like experimenting what actually works for your experimenting what foods you can eat and how much you can eat before you training without negatively affecting your training and only positively affecting your training. So I know on a Monday night when I play football at 7 o'clock, if I have a big meal, let's say 3 p.m., like I'm talking like rice and salmon or something at 3 p.m., that's 4 hours before I play football. I can then get away with having like a banana at like half 5, 6, and I will feel fantastic. But if I don't eat a bigger meal 4 hours before, and I try and get away with trying to eat some fruit and stuff before I play football, I struggle. And it's the same thing when I go to the gym. I go to the gym about 8:30, 9 a.m. I'll make sure that I have some toast, like I say, peanut butter, honey, then a banana, and I am flying. Couple of coffees, boom, I am good to go. But that just comes from experimentation. That I've literally not read that anywhere or anything at all. That literally just comes from experimentation and just seeing what my body can have. We have some members that are like, I can't have coffee before I go to the gym, or I can't eat before I go to the gym, or I have to eat before I go to the gym. This is why with nutrition, it's so specific to the actual person that we can't give specific advice out. You have to know. We can give you the guidelines, but then you have to find out what works for you. That's when you have to take ownership on it. And then, so the last part really here is like hydration. So 3 parts to this. So essentially, the number one thing is we need water, without a doubt. Like I feel like our members are really good at just making sure they bring water into the gym, and I just don't know how good they then are outside of the gym with the water intake. So just making sure that you drink water all day, making sure you drink water when you're in the gym because you're literally sweating, and you're releasing all that water. But then also when you're breathing, when you're talking, when you're moving, you're also releasing water as well. So you need to be making sure you're drinking enough water. Like they say about 2 liters, 7 or 8 cups of water, whatever it is that works for you. Just drink it until your wee is clear. Probably a simple thing to try and work towards. But just drink water. You're probably watching this thinking, I don't drink enough water, or you might be watching this thinking, I am perfectly fine with water. So I literally cannot go anywhere without a bottle of water. That's just built into me now, and I think it's a good thing because it means you're always hydrated. So but hydration, water is just so important. Like your body's made up of, I think, around about 80 to 90% water. So it's like, are you surprised if you're feeling bloated or if you've got a headache or you feel sluggish? You could literally just be dehydrated. So water is so, so important with training. And also, if you're a person that does sweat a lot, and it wouldn't surprise me in our training sessions because obviously you get a really good workout. So if you're a person that does sweat a lot, I would potentially recommend getting some sort of like hydration electrolyte powder that you could just have it put a bit into your drink, and it just helps to replenish those electrolytes that are lost during exercise. It's not vital, but if you do sweat a lot and it's in the summer months, especially at benchmark when it can be warmer, or you just sweat a lot because of the intensity of the workout, then I would put some electrolytes in your drink just to keep you hydrated then as well. And then the last thing would be caffeine as well. Again, you do not need to have caffeine before you work out, but caffeine has been proven, and I'm not just saying this because I love coffee or caffeine, but caffeine has been proven to help with endurance, power, speed, everything, mental health, everything. So caffeine is really beneficial to your training. So if you haven't had a coffee before a workout yet, just come and have one at the gym. Have one maybe 15 minutes before your workout. Don't have it literally before you're about to get moving because it'll take you about 15 minutes to kick in. So you probably try and have a coffee about 15 minutes before, if not a bit later, to really get it into your system. But caffeine is really beneficial for training as well. I would struggle to train without coffee. Not to say that I'm addicted, but it's because the caffeine in it really gives me a good boost. Um, so to wrap things up, trying to integrate these nutritional strategies. So carb loading for energy, protein for recovery and muscle growth, smart meal timing for your sort of performance in the gym, and just consistent hydration as well. All these things will tremendously support you to become fitter, to become stronger, and to just become more like well nourished as well. So that's it. That's all I've got. So if you have any questions or if you have any feedback or anything doesn't make sense, please comment or drop us a message and I will be happy to respond. Have a fantastic day and we will see you tomorrow for the last day.